Did you know, over 60% of heart attacks in seniors happen during routine activities, like walking to the mailbox? And yet, we're told to jog, to run, to push harder. At 76, I almost collapsed trying to stay fit. But what if I told you, a walk, yes, just walking, could do more for your heart than jogging ever will? That's what I discovered from a 1981 Norwegian study that shocked the medical world, and changed my life. Let me take you back just a few weeks ago. I was sitting on my porch, sipping my usual black coffee, when I felt that familiar tightness in my chest again. Nothing alarming, just a reminder. A reminder that my heart's been through a lot, and still ticking. At 76, I've learned that life isn't about how fast you go. It's about how long you can keep going. And let me tell you, I've tried nearly every method they say is good for your heart. I've gone low sodium. I've tried morning jogs, heck, even yoga with my granddaughter. But jogging? That didn't last. The moment my knees started screaming and I was gasping for breath like a beached whale, I knew, this isn't built for me. Not anymore. I kept asking myself, isn't there a way for someone like me to stay strong, stay independent, without feeling like I'm in boot camp? That's when I came across a study. Not just any study, this one was from Norway. It was called the HUNT study, published all the way back in 1981. And it completely changed the way I looked at exercise. According to the researchers, seniors who practiced interval walking, that is, alternating 4 minutes of brisk walking with 4 minutes of relaxed walking, actually had better heart outcomes than those who jogged regularly. That caught my attention. Big time. Think about that, a method of moving your body that doesn't punish your joints, doesn't exhaust your lungs, and still strengthens your heart. 4 minutes fast, 4 minutes slow. Repeat. 30 minutes a day. That's it. I sat with that for a while. Then I smiled and said to myself, all right, Harold. Time to be your guinea pig. I committed to 30 days of what they call the 4x4 HIIT walk. And I wasn't planning to just try it, I was going to document everything, my energy levels, my sleep, my blood pressure, even how many steps I took. I wanted to know, not just feel, if this worked. What I discovered, well, let's just say it changed more than my heart rate. You know, for most of my life, I believed in one thing, if you want to stay alive longer, you gotta work harder. And so I did. Every morning, I tied up my old sneakers, stepped outside, and tried to jog. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't look forward to it. But I did it anyway, thinking I was doing the right thing. They say, no pain, no gain, right? Turns out, that's not entirely true. I remember one cold morning. I was pushing myself harder than usual. I'd made it halfway up the hill near Elm Street. My breath was heavy, my chest was tight, but I kept going. Then suddenly, I stopped. My vision blurred. My knees buckled. And the next thing I remember, I was lying flat on the sidewalk, face to the sky, hearing the distant sound of my neighbor yelling my name. It wasn't a heart attack. But it was a loud, undeniable wake-up call. At the hospital, the doctor told me my blood pressure was dangerously high. I'd been putting my heart under stress, thinking I was helping it. A week later, I met Dr. Avery. Calm eyes, silver hair, the kind of doctor who listens more than he speaks. He looked through my records and said something I'll never forget. Mr. Bennett, your heart's not a machine to push, it's a companion to protect. That hit me hard. Then he introduced me to a study I'd never heard of before, the HUNT study, conducted in Norway in 1981. It followed over 10,000 people for decades. The surprising conclusion? Seniors who walked in intervals, 4 minutes fast, 4 minutes slow, were healthier, stronger, and lived longer than those who jogged. He handed me a single page. A simple plan, 30 minutes a day, 4x4 intervals. He smiled and said, try this. Trust your body again. Let's meet in 30 days. And so I did. That first morning, I'll admit, I was skeptical. This is too easy, I thought. But by the end of week 1, I slept more deeply. By week 2, my knees weren't sore anymore. By week 3, I was walking further and laughing more. By week 4, my blood pressure dropped 15 points. More than numbers, something deeper changed. I no longer felt like I was battling time. I was walking with it. Each step wasn't about avoiding death, it was about embracing life. And that's when I knew, I couldn't keep this to myself. If you're still here, thank you. Because what I'm about to share with you isn't just about walking, it's about transformation. This is exactly what happened when I committed to 30 minutes a day of interval walking. No running. No gym. No fancy equipment. Just me, the pavement, and a plan. Week 1, the doubt. The first week was strange. Every morning, I'd unfold that walking tracker Dr. Avery printed out for me. It had little boxes to tick and space to jot notes. Honestly, I thought it looked like homework from my teaching days. Day 1, I walked fast for 4 minutes. It felt forced. My knees creaked, my breath quickened. Then I slowed down. 4 minutes of gentle walking. Okay, that felt better. Then again. 4 minutes fast. 4 slow. Is this it? I muttered. Just walking. But I stuck with it. I told myself, you've done harder things, Harold. Try for a week. By the 3rd day, something odd happened, I started sleeping better. No more tossing and turning at 2 a.m. By day 5, my knees didn't ache as much. I still wasn't convinced, but I was curious. Week 2, the shift begins. Something shifted, not in my body, but in my mind. I began to enjoy the rhythm. That simple 4x4 pattern became meditative. Walk fast, breathe. Walk slowly, reflect. During those walks, I started noticing things I hadn't seen in years. The way sunlight filtered through the trees. The sound of ducks gliding across the pond. The crunch of gravel beneath my shoes. Then, on day 9, I checked my blood pressure. 138/85. The first time in months, it had dropped below 140. I couldn't believe it. I texted Dr. Avery right away. He replied, keep logging. You're rewiring your vascular response. That message stayed with me all day, you're rewiring your body. I wasn't forcing it anymore. I was reconnecting with it. Week 3, the confidence returns. By week 3, I no longer needed the printed sheet. The routine was in my bones. I started waking up before the alarm. My feet itched to get moving. I added music to my walks, some old jazz, a little Motown, even classical. But honestly, I found myself turning it off most days, just to listen to the birds and the wind. And it wasn't just the walks. Everything else started getting better, too. My digestion improved. My thoughts were clearer. I began reading again, something I hadn't done in months. And when my neighbor John waved and said, "You're glowing, Harold," I laughed. But deep inside, I felt it too. Week 4, the real reward. The final week wasn't a climax, it was a confirmation. By day 28, I felt lighter not just in body, but in spirit. I wasn't chasing health anymore. I was inhabiting it. I returned to Dr. Avery's clinic at the end of the 4th week. He checked my pressure, my heart rate, and smiled. "Textbook," he said. "And your resting heart rate is 5 points lower than a month ago." I didn't just succeed in a protocol. I rediscovered a relationship with movement, with the outdoors, with myself. And here's the real kicker, it wasn't complicated. It wasn't intense. It wasn't punishment. It was 30 minutes of intention. Of rhythm. Of walking with kindness, toward a heart that had carried me for 76 years. Now, I walk not because I'm afraid to die, but because I've remembered how to live. I used to believe that if you weren't sweating, struggling, or sore, then you weren't improving. That's what decades of TV ads, fitness magazines, and even my stubborn pride had taught me. Push through it, Harold. No pain, no gain. I said it like a mantra. But let me tell you, after walking 30 minutes a day, every day, for a month, my body didn't just improve. It began to heal. And more importantly, so did my mind. When I walked into Dr. Avery's clinic for my final checkup, he greeted me not with a clipboard but with a grin. "Sit down, Harold. Let's look at your numbers," he said. He laid out my vitals from the past month. Side by side. Week 1. Week 4. Blood pressure, he said, tapping the chart. Went from 152/93, to 135/82. That's a 17-point drop in systolic pressure, and no medication changes. He moved to the next point. Resting heart rate, down from 78 to 72. That's your heart saying thank you. Then he showed me a bar graph titled, Sleep Efficiency. I chuckled. Didn't even know I had that. He smiled, "You do now. You went from 61% to 81%. That's almost 2 extra hours of real rest per night, Harold." Now, here's where things got interesting. He pulled out a research folder. Inside was the HUNT-1 longitudinal study, the very one he had told me about a month earlier. "This," he said, "is why I recommended the 4x4 interval walking." He flipped to a page with a dense, colorful chart. This study followed over 10,000 adults in Norway for decades. They compared people who jogged regularly, with people who simply walked using the 4x4 method, 4 minutes brisk, 4 minutes slow, for 30 minutes. He pointed to the results. Lower stroke risk by 28%. Lower heart disease by 34%. Improved endothelial function. Less arterial stiffness. Then, as if that wasn't enough, he handed me a printout from the American Heart Association's 2023 Guidelines for Active Aging. In big, bold type, it read, "For adults over 65, interval walking demonstrates superior outcomes in reducing systolic blood pressure and improving VO2 max, compared to continuous jogging or low-intensity walking." I just sat there, stunned. All these years, I'd been running from disease, when the answer was simply to walk with it, intentionally, rhythmically, gently. But here's the part that struck me. Dr. Avery leaned forward and said, "Harold, what you did wasn't random. It wasn't luck. It was prescription-grade movement. Just like a daily dose of heart medicine." That phrase stuck with me, prescription-grade movement. Because that's exactly how it felt. These weren't just walks. They were acts of healing. Every tick on my 30-day tracker became a reminder that my body, even at 76, wasn't done giving. It just needed to be asked, kindly. So now, I want to pass that kindness on to you. If you're watching this and thinking, could this work for me? I don't have to guess. I know the answer. Yes. Yes, it can. I've made a free 30-day walking tracker, just like the one I used. It's simple. You can download it from the link in the description. Print it. Tape it to your fridge. Fill it in with a pen. Old school works best. And if you need a little community support, we've created a small, warm Facebook group called Walking Strong with Harold. We're just regular folks, cheering each other on, one walk at a time. Each week, I post stories, tips, and sometimes, just reminders that you're not walking alone. Because at the end of the day, the hardest step isn't the first brisk 4 minutes. It's the decision to start it all. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment, perfect shoes, perfect weather. Just put one foot in front of the other. And like Dr. Avery said to me, don't try to be perfect, Harold. Just try to show up. That's how healing begins. And I'd be honored to take that first walk with you. Now, maybe you're still sitting there, arms crossed, thinking, Harold, it's too late for me. Let me stop you right there. You think you're too old? I was 76. You think you're too out of shape? I could barely walk up my driveway. You think it's too late? Listen, friend, the clock didn't stop ticking. Your heart didn't stop beating. And as long as that's true, you've still got time. But time alone won't do the healing. Intentional action will. So here's what I want you to do, right now. Before you close this video. Before your brain says, I'll do it tomorrow. Just scroll down. Download the 30-day interval walking log. It's free. No email. No catch. Just the same tool that changed my life. Pin it to your fridge. Tell your spouse. Get your grandkid to color in the boxes with you. Make it a ritual. And when you do your first walk, come back here. Comment, day 1 done. Let me know. I'll be reading every single one. Because your first step becomes someone else's inspiration. And if this story sparks something in you, something small, like hope, then I've got more to share. Next week, I'll tell you the story of how a 93-year-old woman from Minnesota reversed her frailty using a spoonful of olive oil, and what her doctor found in her blood work shocked everyone. But you've got to show up to hear it. So subscribe. Hit that little bell. Not for me, for you. You've carried your heart through decades of storms. Now it's time to walk with it, not against it. See you on the next path.